For 12 years, Jason Goolsby did not miss a day of drinking. Today he's sober and he's here to share his story of overcoming alcohol addiction.
Walking out of the shadow, stepping into the light. I've been down some bad roads, now I'm living it
right. Welcome, Jason Goolsby.
Thank you.
So tell us about your drinking career and how it began.
Well, I grew up in a teetotaler Baptist family. A lot of people don't know what teetotaler means. There's no permissible use of alcohol,
That's
period.
Right.
I didn't know why my family was like that so much. I thought it was purely religious reasons, and there was a history there. So my family knew it was my parents knew it was in my DNA, you know. When I was 13 or 14 years old, we had a camp out and some older boys, 16 or 17, came over and they brought a fifth of vodka and a gallon of Sunny Delight.
Sunny D! It's a party.
I remember pouring the orange juice out enough to fit the vodka in there. I remember thinking when that stuff started flowing through my veins, it was, you know, looking back on it, it was a moment when I was just like, oh my gosh, I have found this thing, you know. I've always been outgoing and whatnot, but it was like Jason, Super Jason went to extra Super Jason.
So Jason, you drank every day for 12 years. And did anyone know?
You know, I certainly my wife, then fiance, she knew. I mean, when you have that, your system is so saturated with that. People smell you,
That's right.
I mean,
it's so true.
Yeah.
Was there a deadline that you set for yourself where
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop drinking at?
I was in my late 20s, you know, 27, 28 years old, and I said, I'll stop when I'm 30.
Yeah.
And 30 came and went, and well, you know, I'll start next week. I'll stop next week.
Yeah.
You know, I remember being in a recovery meeting and looking at a book on a shelf, and the name of the book was "I'll Quit Tomorrow." I'm like, I'm not the only person that thought that.
What a great title! You're like, I could have written
There's other people that thought that. Yeah, I could have written that. Yeah,
I could have written that book.
That was my motto for a long time. So 30 came and went, and it was 36 when I finally stopped, quit.
So tell us about the letter you received and why it was the catalyst for the change.
Well, I had a single car accident in August of 2009, and it was the first time that I'd really gotten in trouble with alcohol. You know, I had that on a Friday night, and by that next Tuesday, I was in a treatment facility. And you know, you sober up for like 14 days, and they give you some tools there that you start learning about recovery. Well, one of my good friends from high school sent me this letter, and it was essentially talking about his experience. He was like me, right? Grew up in the church, had that drug problem, drugged to church 3 times a week, and he mentioned that he was in a Bible study one Wednesday night, and then he had this revelation when they were studying the parable of the wheat and the tares. Can I read that for you?
Absolutely.
The parable of the wheat and the weeds, or tares. King James Version will say tares. He presented another parable to them. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while people were sleeping, his enemy came, sowed weeds among the wheat, and left. When the plant sprouted and produced grain, then the weeds also appeared. The landowner's slaves came to him and said, Master, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Then where did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he told them. So do you want us to go and gather them up? The slaves asked. No, he said, when you gather up the weeds, you might also uproot the wheat with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. At harvest time, I'll tell the reapers, gather the weeds first and tie them in bundles to burn them, but store the wheat in my barn. Of course, to me, I felt like, well, you know, he's telling me that I may not either, you know.
Were you offended at all? You
No,
know, some people might be like, why are you sending me this?
I was so broken and such in a dark place.
Yeah.
Like I would have taken any kind of help,
Wow.
you know. I remember sitting and reading that, and I remember it was at night underneath this little lamp because I had a roommate, you know. I kept that, still have that letter somewhere.
So I would encourage anyone that has felt maybe a little nudge to write a letter to someone and it keeps coming up, like almost like a beach ball, keeps popping up, keeps popping up. I think that means you should really write the letter. And just like Jason spoke to, it changed his life. And he wasn't offended, he was so desperate. I think sometimes we're so worried about how something's going to be received, so we don't do it. But it's not about us. It's about potentially truly helping someone else.
And
So
what is the Word of God is good for? You know, reprimand,
yes,
for change. That's what
Yeah.
we're told that it's for. So
Yeah.
why not use it?